Republic of Mauritius Address to National Assembly of Honorable Xavier Luc Duval GCSK, Vice Prime Minister, Minister for Social Integration and Empowerment. Part 2 of extracts of the speech delivered by Xavier Luc Duval in National Assembly on Tuesday, 9 November 2010. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the objectives of my ministry is to enable every Mauritian household to live in dignity. We are not talking about making people rich but dignity. Mr. Speaker, sir, having electricity, water, having a reasonable house that will withstand a cyclone. This is the basics. One of the objectives of the National Empowerment Foundation is to provide a roof for people. Now, we have two types. One is creating so-called model estates for people like La Valette, Saint-Lumiere and one in Rodrigues under construction and project. We are also constructing houses on individual plots of land belonging to the poor persons or to their families. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, sir, of course, he must be allocated fairly, that is one thing. But then, there is also the question of constructing what and where. Do you construct a housing estate or do you construct a community? As we are doing at La Valette and we are going to do at Dubreuil, we want to construct communities, and at Dubreuil, we have asked for 6 plots of land that we are going to actually build other things than just houses, like a social hall, shops, recreational facilities, and at La Valette, I am pleased to say that we have just opened a kindergarten. We are going to deliver the houses at Saint-Lumiere by the end of the year, and we have done quite a bit of work in African Town and in Dubreuil, just so that people know, we have actually finished with the planning. I am talking about the ex-squatters of Dubreuil. We have appointed Mauritius Housing Company as the project manager for this, and hopefully, they will go very quickly doing the project, calling for tenders and construction of these core houses for the people at Dubreuil, Mr. Speaker, sir. But I must say that while talking on this subject, I am very pleased as when we were able to connect, with the help of the Central Electricity Board and the Central Water Authority, 65 houses behind La Cure Housing Estate to electricity and water, thanks to the members of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, sir. I think it is our duty, as a nation, to ensure that every family lives in dignity and is able to have access to basic clean water and electricity. Mr. Speaker, sir, we say that poverty is the concern of everyone, so one of our roles is to encourage other ministries and parastatal bodies to go along that line and adopt pro-poor policies. We are happy that we are working again with the Central Electricity Board and my colleague, the Deputy Prime Minister, to enable the installation, on a pilot basis hopefully to be extended after, of prepaid electricity meters, which is very technologically advanced, will not only help the Central Electricity Board to manage the meters, but also enable the poor to better afford electricity. Mr. Speaker, sir, very often we meet poor people who have actually given up hope. They adopted such bad behavior, maybe because they have fallen into alcohol or drugs, or they may just not have real initiative in life. So, changing of behavior among the poor is an important aspect of the workers at the National Empowerment Foundation, and this is why we have a social contract for the housing estates. When the government does something, there must be behavioral change, and you must add your own effort yourself to be able to come up the ladder. We have a social contract at La Valette, and we will have a social contract at Dubreuil and everywhere that will be necessary. We are having courses on life skills and debt management. We will also come with the family planning. It is important because there are sometimes very large families and people do not act responsibly. Parents do not act responsibly, and afterwards the problems are there and the children really suffer because there is so much income. All of us know that with so much income you can have so many children. If you don't have that, there is an imbalance, and we have all type of problems with children in Mauritius, which my colleague Mrs. Bapu is dealing with. So, family planning is also an important issue to responsibilize the parents and the would-be parents as to the appropriate family size. A few more things to say is our need to identify talent in the country. That is why, with the Ministry of Sports, we have started the street football not only for leisure and competitiveness that they give in the human being, but also because it enables us to identify talents. We will be starting a project which is called El Sistema, which, in fact, with the help of the private sector, will try to find and identify young musicians among the very poor and help them become famous people, singers, dancers. Mr. Speaker, sir, CSR is a brilliant initiative. I have always supported it coming from the last government, being able to say to the private sector, there is 2% of taxation but we will actually let you spend it, divert it through your foundation or through non-governmental organizations. Spend it where it needs to be spent. Mr. Speaker, sir, Rodriguez is doing well so far as the housing is concerned, although there may be a battle, but still it is happening there. We are thinking of having a Rodriguez desk to assist Rodriguans who are migrating to more areas in finding employment, in finding decent housing because, as we know, one of the problems to do with squatting is the fact that Rodriguans come here and sometimes they do not have decent housing and are forced to adopt this mode of living. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank all the volunteers who work sometimes most of the cases without any publicity just through their own personal satisfaction. They help the people who are in need. Mr. Speaker, sir, thanks to all the people who are working hard at the NEF, at my ministry. Thanks to all my colleagues here in government and in the Alliance de l'Avenir for helping in every way that they can with this whole policy of alleviation of poverty. Our work will not be on paper, it will be judged on how we have, in fact, changed the life of real people living in poverty all across Mauritius. Finally, win-win-win, Mr. Speaker, sir, poverty alleviation benefits everybody. That's limit de la fin. Obviously it's a win for the poor first, of course, because they are actually living a better life. It is a win also for the investors coming into this country. Above all, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is a win for society because we all live in Mauritius and we all want to live in a better Mauritius, and I'll finish by asking the help of all my colleagues here in Parliament so that we actually create a better Mauritius. Thank you. Xavier Luc Duval, Vice Prime Minister, Minister for Social Integration and Economic Empowerment. 9 November 2010.